Leap Day 2020 is firmly in the past, and with February being all the way behind us now, it is time to look forward to the month of March and my TBR for the first month of spring. I'm not actually sure if it's the first month of spring, I'm not really very good at calendars, but be that as it may, it's getting warmer, I'm getting rain instead of snow, so let's jump right into this month's TBR. The first book I'm going to be reading is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I am really excited to read this because I got it in audiobook form, as usual, and Neil Gaiman narrates his own audiobooks. And sometimes that's a little bit worrisome when an author narrates their own audiobooks. Like, you're not really sure how it's going to turn out. Sometimes they're a little bit flat and dry throughout, and it's like, I just want someone to bring some life to it. I get that you wrote it, but sometimes just because you wrote it doesn't mean that you can narrate it or pick out the cover, or we have different people do different things, and stop trying to do everything yourself. You don't have to take the whole weight of the world upon your own shoulders. A little bit of a rant. But anyway, Neil Gaiman, I'm happy to say, does a very good job narrating his own audiobooks. He brings a certain amount of atmosphere with the spooky, supernatural, dryly funny kind of vibe. I really like it. I loved Coraline. I listened to him do a recording of that. It was a lot of fun. So I'm excited. I started a bit of The Graveyard Book, and if you like already, I already started listening to it. I don't know whether I should read things before I start the TBR, but I'm about halfway through. Love it so far. If you like coming-of-age, supernatural kind of stories, but where you're on a tighter focus, you're not like, I'm going to explore the whole world like in fantasy, but instead, like, I'm going to focus on this one graveyard and the people in it and the story of like his life. You'd really like this. It's Neil Gaiman, so I mean, you automatically know it's going to be pretty good. The next book is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, inspired by an idea from Siobhan Dowd, and I deeply apologize if I pronounced that name wrong. Another booktuber, channel name The Archive, recommended this to me. I looked into it, and it looked really good, so I went ahead and rented it. All of these books that I'm mentioning, I've already rented from the library, and I can feel like the due date for them get like closer and closer and closer to me, so I better get reading. You know, I got a lot of books to read. The next one is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I'm super stoked to read this because I was watching a video by Daniel Green talk about some of the most important fantasy works that have come out recently. And he mentioned this book, and he said it was written by a first-time author. This is his debut novel, and it was apparently incredible. Like, it rocketed to the top, and it's like, this is his first book, and apparently it was really, really good. So I am super excited to read that. It's also due in 12 days, so I have to read Graveyard Book, A Monster Calls, and The Rage of Dragons all within 12 days, and I can't push back my deadline because I ordered these all ahead of time from my library. I didn't really think it through very well. The fourth book is Illuminae by Amie Kaufman and J. Kristoff, and I have this in physical form for like very rare for me. A friend recommended this to me when I told her, hey, you know, I'm gonna follow your advice. I'm gonna listen to Illuminae. She was like, no, don't listen to it. Do you see this? This is a multimedia presentation. This is, let me see if I can find a good page for it. Yeah, look at that. I hope you can see that. Like, there's so much going on here. You can't just listen to it in audio form. You'd be missing out on so much. So I compromised, and I was like, you know, I don't want to just read it because I heard that the audiobook had a full cast presentation. So I did both. I have a physical copy. My friend lent it to me. She was very kind. Thank you very much. And I'm going to be listening to an audiobook from Libby. So super stoked, and that is due in 16 days. So let me check here. The Graveyard Book, due in 2 days. A Monster Calls, due in 10 days. The Rage of Dragons, 12 days, and the Illuminae in 16 days. Bear in mind, I'm doing 2 masters, so, I mean, I'm just gonna be like, when I'm not in class, I'm just gonna be like, read, listen, go, exercise, go. So, I am pretty stoked. Wow, I should be reading right now. Do you ever get that feeling, like, when you're just, like, relaxing, and you feel a little bit guilty for it? You're like, oh man, I should be doing something productive now. Well, at this point, since I have my library loans, like, coming at me, it's like, wow, I really need to be reading, because I don't want, the worst thing that could happen is to, like, say, hey guys, I'm reading this book, and then the library would be like, I'm taking this back now, and I'm like, oh, my bad. My stretch goals for March, in case I finish all 4 of those in the next 16 days, which, you know, hope so. The first one is The Girl in the Tower by Katherine Arden. I'm really looking forward to reading this because I read The Bear and the Nightingale, which was book 1. This is book 2. I read book 1, and I thought it was just thrilling. I thought it was had a really fantastic world. I thought it was really richly drawn from mythology, from Russian folklore. And I really just want to know what happens in book 2, because book 1 felt like a self-contained story to me a bit, and I want to know where it goes from here. Like, where can it go, you know? So that's exciting. And then if I have time, this is really, really, if you have like your normal goals, your stretch goals, these are like shoot for the stars goals. I really want to start The Testaments by Margeret Atwood. I love The Handmaid's Tale. Read it. I watched some of the series. I thought the series had a good atmosphere, but I really liked the book. And then when I found out The Testament is out, a sequel, because of the show, apparently Margaret Atwood caved in and was like, fine, you want book 2, fine, just take it and leave me alone. I feel you, I get that. Looking forward to book 2 anyway. I have that here. Which one am I looking forward to the most, I think? I'm almost finished. I'm like halfway, what am I, halfway through the Graveyard book, so I can't really say I'm most looking forward to that since I'm already like halfway done with it. I think that because my friend's been pushing me to read Illuminae, and because it is a mixed media presentation, I've never read a mixed media presentation book before. So I think if I had to pick one about which I was most excited for, I think I might pick this because I'm interested in seeing how playing with fonts and playing with spacings and formats, and there's redactions, like if you can see, it's got like some words are redacted on here. I think that's pretty cool. And then it's got like, I don't know if you can tell, but it just says Katie in different strengths of font, so it makes the shape of a person's head, and I think that's really cool. So I think I'm most looking forward to see that on a technical level of how that works out. But thank you very much. I hope you stick around so that you can hear my reviews for these books, and until then, I hope you really enjoy your beginning of March. Every day is a gift, and I hope you find something in your day that helps you smile. Bye for now.